Go for it.
Welcome to this week's Whole Wheat Costa. Here with Kevin, and we have an actual engineer, Christian.
What's up?
So tonight is our 51st episode, so we want to talk about aliens a little bit.
I don't know anything about aliens.
We'll start with beer facts.
Yeah.
Or tonight, I went to a beer store, a new beer store, and you could do the 6-packs where you just pick different beers. So they had a whole aisle of beers. So tonight we have, or this morning, we're recording in the morning.
Yeah, it's very strange.
Yeah.
Also, as you guys know, I'll drink any beer, so I've never gone to a beer store where I bought a specialty 6-pack of beers.
This one I can't pronounce. It's Evil Twin Brewing, Sanguinum Orin. It's a sour ale with blood orange.
Yeah, no, it's a black can. Just
Yeah.
look for that. I had some Spellbound Brewing Belgian Triple Cherry. I don't know. It's probably gonna be fine.
We've had Spellbound before. It's the local one out of Mount Holly, New Jersey.
So for background, if anyone's listening to us for the first time, we made the decision 50 episodes ago that if we were going to talk about beer, if we were going to do a beer facts at the beginning of every episode, that we were going to really learn about beer. And I haven't done that, but JD knows some things about beer. So
Yeah. Well, I like drinking beer.
yeah.
It's very counterintuitive to my other goals, which is lose 40 pounds.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so we're podcasting in the morning, which we've never done before. I don't think I've seen JD before noon in like a a year.
I've slept over your house one time.
Yeah, that was probably the last time. I don't
Yeah.
know. This is real weird. We're obviously we're at a real studio versus the Whole Wheat Costa studio, which is no longer a bedroom, so that's good.
Well, technically it's a bedroom
Yeah.
turned into an office.
Yeah. But this is a whole nother step up. So here we are. First time maybe on video. I guess that's to be decided later. Video will exist of this, whether you guys will see it or not. I don't know.
Yeah. All right.
It's up in the air.
Yeah.
Today's question is, do you believe aliens exist?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The universe is way too big.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. So that's what I think is interesting about it. So like JD last week said, "Oh, we should talk about aliens," and I don't know anything about aliens. And
Typical Kevin did no research into it whatsoever.
yeah, as per usual, no research. So I feel like JD really wants to talk about specific like alien conspiracy theories and stuff. Which if he talks about them, I will comment on them.
Well, just not alien conspiracy theories, like just aliens in general, because I think it's real. Space travel and space is like interesting to me, and like the biggest conspiracy is like, have aliens visit the Earth and did they help build pyramids?
Yeah. I don't know. I with the idea of like how big the universe is, I feel like that's the most interesting thing. Like the Fermi paradox is, I think, super interesting. I feel like I think about it too much. So I guess that's where I am interested in aliens from that perspective.
I don't think we're the only humans in the universe. I feel
Possible.
like one of my favorite theories, even though I know there's like a lot of holes in it, is that like we came from another planet. And I know there is like obvious evidence of evolution, but at a certain point we came in.
Right. Have you ever seen Battlestar Galactica?
No.
But
I do know of
the new
show.
one. Yeah. So like the last couple episodes, like the last 3 episodes, like well, the whole thing is they have to find Earth because like their entire 12 planets was destroyed by the Cylons, right? So there's only 50,000 people, and at the end of it, there's only 38,000 people. So the whole 4 seasons is them trying to find basically Earth. And they land on Earth, and it's destroyed. It's like a nuclear wasteland. They can't stay there. But it's not our Earth. It's like a different planet. So they travel. It's like another season and everything. And eventually they come to what is our actual Earth. It's 250,000 years before us. So essentially...
Oh, really?
Yeah. So essentially, the 38,000 survivors land on Earth, and they come to a consensus that, well, some actually go back because they don't want to do it, but they come to a consensus that how about we fly all the technology into the sun and live alongside these primitive men? So that's what they do. Like these what we thought the whole time was a future race of humans was actually
Like the first humans.
yeah, the first humans.
Is-
and that
Wait a minute, did you just spoil the whole show? Was that what it was building up towards?
yeah, that's
Basically,
that's
yeah.
Oh,
So
you
don't-
fuck.
Yeah, don't bother watching it.
Yo, I would have loved to have found that out.
dude. It's like
So-
2003.
I don't care. That's fantastic.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So the whole time they don't actually travel anywhere but to our Earth, 250,000 years in the past.
So it's basically like a whole prequel story for Earth.
Yeah.
is what it
So I
is.
think like that's
Earth, the prequel.
yeah. And
Coming
then-
to theaters in 2003.
yeah. Well, I think it ran to like 2000, and I think it's spoiler range now. Like
Yeah.
It's fine. It's out of spoiler range.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't even know if it's like out anywhere.
what?
Battlestar Galactica.
It's on Amazon.
Oh, it
Okay.
is.
Yeah. So I was
Okay.
watching. Yeah.
Are we talking about the new one, right?
The new one, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the original one. Yeah, but yeah, so like your idea of like there's other humans out there. Like that's a pretty cool thing that like aliens did in the past live, and they just flew all their technology into the sun.
That's one of the ideas, though. Not necessarily that like humans would have come here from somewhere else, but the idea, I can't think of what it's called, but it's the idea that that there might be hardy enough life that it sort of traveled through interstellar space, even in like microbe form, in order to like seed other planets. You
Right.
know, so that's part of like trying to find microbial life on Mars. The idea that life might have started there and then moved here, or might have started here and somehow gotten transported there over time.
Right.
I always think it's interesting to think about too, and this is, I think, one of the alien ideas is like, if there were very ancient aliens, that influence human civilization, would we see any evidence of them? I was like thinking about Venus, because Venus is like a planet that was like Earth and now is basically like hell because of, basically global warming and the greenhouse gases and stuff. So like,
Does anyone else hear that hum?
I can hear a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's just a room.
I think it's the fridge. Hold on.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, I'm like, what is that? Yeah. So yeah, you're right. Like it's crazy how different things evolve like that. Like Earth could be that.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's another thing I think about too much of like, is it, could it be possible that, that life was on Venus initially, or that it existed? Because I mean, there's, giant crushing gas clouds now. So I mean, they could have had cities there. There'd be no way for us to ever tell.
Right.
And it's the same. The idea. I mean, there could have been stuff on Earth here. I mean, even there could have been ancient like Roman level civilizations. Even to that point, like that stuff would have crumbled if it was millions of years ago.
Right. And they say one of the reasons we know so much about Rome in general is because of concrete. Like they invented concrete, so like it has lasted that long.
But the thing, that's over thousands of years. If there was a
Right.
civilization that was 100,000 years ago,
Right.
like we like that wouldn't have lasted this long now.
Yeah. So, do you think, like, we'll ever meet an alien? Maybe not our lifetime, but like eventually, like Earthlings as.
Well, that's part of the issue is how big space is, right? Because if you have
It's infinite.
well, yeah, but even like not only in realistic timescales, but like there's the idea, and I think this is where like if you play the Mass Effect games, where I think their scale is perfect because it's a galactic scale. It's basically the story of our galaxy, but it's not like the story of the universe. And that's really more realistic because, there's this idea that, if I'm not mistaken, like stuff outside of our local group of galaxies, like just the handful that are around us, like it's not that it would be hard to get outside that area, that it might be actually impossible. That like the universe is expanding fast enough that there's a point where we couldn't, by the laws of physics, no matter how advanced our technology was, actually get to stuff outside of our local group of galaxies.
Right.
So it almost doesn't matter how big the rest of the universe is, but even in our galaxy, there's billions of stars and like billions of planets. So
Thousands of billions.
yeah. So even in that, there's like plenty of space for stuff to happen. But like I was saying, I'm super interested in the Fermi paradox thing. And probably like sometime 20 episodes ago, we talked about this a little bit, but I mean, if one of you 5 people are listening, then
I do
I
remember.
apologize for the rehash.
No, we were in the old Whole Wheat Costa
yes.
studio.
But no, I just think I think it's a super fascinating idea that there's like these, the paradox is basically that there's so much space, and there's so much there's so much possibility for life to develop that just probability wise it must have developed some places. So then, why don't we see that? And the answers of the Fermi paradox, I think the most interesting one is like the great filter ideas, like the idea that either that there's some cutoff that it's like really hard for life to go past, and it's kind of a scary idea because the idea is that either these filters are behind us, like that it's really hard for life to develop in the first place, like from inorganic chemicals, or that it's really hard for advanced life to develop, like to have like multicellular organisms develop. If that's the case, then maybe we're one of the first civilizations ever to develop. But the scary part is that maybe the great filters are in front of us, that it's not that hard for life to develop, and there's all these planets across the galaxy that have like simple life on them, but that every advanced civilization hits a wall where like it's something that I think the idea that seems most realistic to me is that there's some future tech that is really inevitable to discover, but that will destroy the civilization. Like whether it's like nanotechnology that goes out of control for every civilization that ever finds it, or whether like everyone just eventually blows themselves up with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, like we could be at that point where nuclear weapons is that tech.
Yeah.
Of which we have, and like we could be driving home tonight, and the president's like, oh, I'm just gonna bomb this country, and people are like, no, and he does it anyway. Yeah. And like people agree to that, and then like another country bombs it, and then it's just like nuclear winter. Like we could be at that point.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, does every civilization find nuclear power and then eventually blows themselves up? Is it like the Terminator idea where just eventually you develop an AI that destroys your civilization? We actually, on the ride over here, because we were about an hour away, listened to "I Have No Mouth, But I Must Scream," which I never listened to before. I knew about the game and I played it a little bit, so I knew about the story, but I never listened to it. And that's basically the same idea of that because of war, we developed these advanced computer systems that eventually took over. But where that story is, that's like actually way bleaker than like the Terminator sort of stories, because in those, the civilization or the computer system kills all but 5 humans on the planet, and then just perpetually tortures those humans forever. Is basically the story.
Well, yeah, the Terminator one, the people have a fighting chance. Mm-hmm. They give it a Terminator, and as the Terminator movies progress and everything, like they're like, you guys, it was our plan all along, and then it just, the last Terminator that came out was just horrendous. But now they're having a 6th Terminator movie, and I'm like, oh my Jesus Christ!
I'm kind of excited for that one though, because they got
the
director of Deadpool
to
do it. It's being executive produced by James Cameron. He wasn't involved with the last one.
Oh, okay.
So, and Schwarzenegger's coming back, and the woman who played Sarah Connor. So,
yeah.
I got a lot of faith in the next Terminator movie.
What's it called? Schwarzenegger. I've been watching his Instagram, and he's like getting jacked, working out and everything.
Oh,
I'm
really?
like, for a guy in his 70s.
I think he's in his 70s. Yeah. That's
I'm 30 years old, and he puts me to shame. It's just terrible. But imagine having like, I wish I had like half of his mindset. Like everything he's ever said he's gonna do, he's done it, and he's worked that hard, and it's crazy.
Yeah, you wonder too for a guy like him, because like I guess traditionally, like if you think about like a big bodybuilder like that, like most of them have used some type of steroids, so like they don't make it to 70. So like for him to be alive at his age is impressive, and then to be able to just sort of rejuvenate himself again is pretty insane. I guess I mean obviously he is like a genetically special human being to be able to do what he does. So maybe he is one of the handful of people on the planet that like can look like he looks without anything like that. But
him and Sylvester Stallone, who's known for using steroids.
Yeah.
It's there's a Rambo 5 coming out.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So essentially, his friend, his daughter, gets kidnapped by the Mexican drug cartel. Mm-hmm. Not one of them.
Just the one.
Yeah. And he like he's Rambo. He's like, I don't want to help, and then like eventually he helps and he wipes out the whole cartel apparently or something. That's like the plot of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then something that's always fascinated me is related to actual aliens is they're having another Predator movie next week. It's being released, so I'm pretty excited about.
Big Shane Black fan.
Shane Black. Yeah, he just everything he does is like great, and he's like great at doing the group dynamic, and it just looks really good, and it's like the I think the plot of this one is there's the predators get called to Earth for some reason, and it kind of breaks off the last Predators movie where the predators have the predators actually have like a game reserve planet where they bring like dangerous animals to, like humans and like killers and everything, and they hunt them.
Okay.
And then so this one is like the predator gets called to Earth, but they kind of realize that the predators have been colonizing the universe, and they've been genetically modifying to get like bigger, badder predator hunters. And then that one attacks like the predators that get called to Earth, and like now I think the predators are gonna have to work together with the humans to hunt down these giant like genetically modified predators.
Okay. I don't know that I've seen any of the Predator movies, honestly. I don't know. I'm honestly recently I feel like catching up on a lot of this stuff. Like I just for whatever reason like just never watched movies before, and then I'm like I don't know. I feel like the last year I've been on I've been on like a movie kick where I've just been trying to watch stuff I missed out on. Oh,
I've been doing the same thing. Yeah, but sometimes I come across some stinkers that people
Yeah.
are like.
Oh yeah.
These is I'll have a movie that my friend is like, oh, this is fantastic. I'll watch it, and I'll be like, this is awful.
Yeah.
Like there was a movie. Wow, I'm glad I forgot what it was called, but it featured this dude, like a monster that he would shit out. And some of my friend told me, oh, it's an excellent B movie. It's gonna be fantastic. It's hilarious. I didn't laugh once. It was so horribly like directed, like not Wiseau level,
yeah.
but like, just like, yo, come on, I could do better than this.
Yeah. What Sharknado are they on?
6.
Yeah.
Six? Oh, okay.
So is that going to be for real, the last Sharknado?
No. Absolutely not. Look at it like this. They announced it's the last one. They wait like maybe 2 years, and then we're either going to get the reunion movie or the sequel or the reboot.
Kev, don't you love them?
I do. I've watched most of the Sharknado movies. I actually recorded the last one. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
So, but I just know the one before that ended with the main character's son, played by who's the Russian guy from Rocky.
Oh shit! No, it's real Dolph Lundgren.
Yes. So, so spoiler for the second to last Sharknado.
But we've already spoiled Battlestar Galactica.
Like, might as well go on a complete spoiler.
Yeah.
Um,
Sizer Cote was like,
So it ends with the world ending because of an epic Sharknado, and his son coming back from the future as Dolph Lundgren. It basically tells him, "Get in the car. We're going back in time and we're fixing things." So I'm really curious.
I gotta go. Like
You know
that's
Want to hear
that's
something crazy?
What's that?
I saw the first Sharknado, the first Sharknado in theaters by accident. So I had never, like, I had heard of Sharknado because I follow the Asylum.
Yeah.
I actually want to work for them. Like, I want to make shitty movies and get paid for it.
Yeah.
Anyway, my friend was like, hey, you want to come see a movie? Sure. Here's a ticket. What are we seeing? Don't worry about it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's like, we're going to show up. Cool. And somehow, like, I got my popcorn and I got all that, and I missed the marquee, so I didn't even see, like,
yeah.
oh, this is going to be Sharknado in theaters. I just sit in the theater, and then the title comes up, and I'm like, what did you just do?
Yeah.
And I will tell you, sitting in a theater watching Sharknado was one of the most fun movie-going experiences I've ever had.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because I think, truly, we need more films like that in theaters. And I know that sounds kind of ludicrous, but think about it. Back in the 70s, there was no direct-to-video yet.
Yeah.
Everything went straight to theaters. And those movies developed those type of cult followings. And I know it's cheaper to put things on video now, but I think those movies do, like Sharknado and even cheesier ones, deserve like a chance to like sit in a theater for like almost the same amount of time as most movies do.
Yeah.
Because come on, like it's so much fun, and people forget that hey, you could go to the movies to have fun. I don't gotta feel emotions all the time.
Yeah.
If I want to watch a cheese fest, I'll watch a cheese fest.
Right. I remember seeing Snakes on a Plane, which
Oh
one
my
is one of the greatest movies of all time. Easy. And so Snakes on a Plane, we're sitting in the theater. There's probably like 40 people in the theater. And they go to the snake vision, like going around. And my buddy just screams, "Snake vision!" And like every time they do it, like towards the end of the film and everything, we had the whole theater, we had the whole theater going, "Snake vision!" Like it was such a great experience watching such a bad movie.
Oh man,
it's great.
I had an experience like that when I saw The Room in Philadelphia.
Mm.
Tommy Wiseau does these like monthly screenings of The Room in Philly, and I didn't know that.
It has just become profitable.
Yeah, and my friend, again, the same dude who took me to Sharknado was like, "Yo, you want to go see The Room?" I was like, "What's The Room?" And he's like, "Oh." He explains to me the whole backstory. It's not a surprise this time.
Okay.
And we go sit in the theater, and we're watching this movie, and oh my God, the Room is something special. Like, it is special bad. I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
I haven't seen it.
I've seen it, and I've seen The Disaster Artist, which is great.
Oh, yeah. So we're sitting in the theater, and for some reason in The Room, they have these really obnoxious, like, wide establishing shots of San Francisco at the most random of times. During one of them, I seized an opportunity because they were making cancer jokes in the movie, so I was just like, as loud as I could, "Insert cancer joke here." The whole fucking theater like erupted into laughter.
Yeah.
It was so good. And then it kept happening. Someone picked it up, and the audience started driving around with it. It was so much fun. When the audience picks up on it, it's the best. When like everyone participates in one stupid joke.
Yeah.
Snake vision.
I don't know. I'm a big fan of the special event things at theaters, though. Like I think for like you were saying, for like those cheesy movies, like I don't know if they could have a full theatrical run, but I would like to see more special events like that. I feel like I see stuff all the time, going to the movies where I feel like this thing now where part one of the previews is always like some special event.
A
that's coming up.
Fathom events.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've only gone to like a couple things like that, but they're way more fun than because people are there. It's like a one-time thing. People are there specifically to see that are big fans of it or that really want to get into it. Like I saw last weekend, Captain America: Winter Soldier in theaters. They had the 10th anniversary Marvel stuff, and it was just a good crowd of people in there.
I was like, wait,
That's
not 10 years old yet.
yeah. Well, for the whole universe, the whole MCU.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was awesome, and it was cool because my son's 3.5 and he's really into Marvel movies. So I mean, obviously, except for the last couple movies, like he couldn't see any of them in theaters. So to be able to take him to some of them was pretty fun.
Did he have a shield?
No, he didn't because so we've been getting all the different Marvel toys from like the Disney store and some of them are more problematic, and I figured, okay, the Captain America shield would be pretty safe, but of course, like he's seen the Captain America movie, so like every once in a while you'll be like shooting him with Iron Man darts, and then he just takes the shield off and throws it at you, and then you got this big plastic shield coming at you. So,
yeah. Every year, I think it was the 8th one. I missed it this year. The first 3 years, I want to say, me and my dad went to the Grateful Dead. It's like Night of the Dead or something like that. It's
The
like
Evil Dead?
No. It's a Grateful Dead concert. Grateful Dead like meet up at the movies.
okay.
And the Fathom Events puts on. They put like a new concert on every year. It's on Jerry Garcia's birthday, which is August 1st. So I didn't get to go. I went last year, and that was real fun. And like I bought like all these snacks to watch it, and I was like, oh man, they're gonna think I'm a fat pig. Like all these snacks, for reasons, I was pretty hungry.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably everyone else in there felt the same way.
I walked in, and like you had all these people. Like everyone had like a popcorn, a pretzel nuggets, 2 sodas. Like so it was pretty fun. Like we all had a good time. We watched all these things. We watched this concert, like this Grateful Dead concert that took place in like '89, and like everybody like had a good time. You know, it's like it was like even though there's only like 40, 50 people there, like it felt like a community, like of like I guess deadheads.
Yeah,
That's
no,
awesome though.
yeah, no, I think that's why I don't know. I think that's the big run in superhero movies the last few years is because of that. Like, not that they're, I mean they're big budget movies. It's not like they're like Sharknado like B movies, but they're mostly like more fun movies and I don't know. I just think there's a reaction now of like I think things got real serious for a while,
Right.
and it's just okay to go and have fun and watch. You know, that's why I wasn't happy coming out of Infinity Wars, even though I mean objectively it was a really good movie, and the more I think about it, the less I feel this way. But I mean, I don't know. I go to a Marvel movie to see the good guys win in the end. And like I know it's really only a part one, but I still felt like a certain way coming out of it that I was like, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They didn't win.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, movies. I like going to see fun movies or watching fun movies at home, like B movies. Like as long as they're like followable. But like I've seen a lot, like this movie Wind River. It was like at the end of the movie, I needed to go have a drink, and like I like watching movies like that. But a lot of times I like going, and I'm like, that was fun. Like, and I had a good time, you know. But not every movie. I want to have a drink afterwards, you know,
Yeah.
just to like calm my nerves, and like those are all like the big, like Oscar-winning movies. You're like, oh no, like, but I'm kind of with you now. Like, I want to go see a movie. I want to watch a movie where I'm like, yeah, you know, like I'm like that
Yeah.
was fun. That was hilarious. Like I saw the movie recently, Black Klansman, and it took place in the '70s, and it was funny and it was good, but it was so tense. And then at the end of it, they showed like the shit that's going on in the nation with like the different race riots and like the girl that got hit by the car. They ran through like the Black Lives Matter thing and
They
all
showed
the
that in the
protests.
movie.
Yeah, at the end of the movie, like they showed all this
Wow.
stuff and like you're like, it's,
Don't spoil it yet. I
yeah, I'm
haven't
not
seen.
no spoilers, but like you watch it and you go out of it like, oh, it was a really good movie. I need a fucking drink. Like
Yeah.
like it would hit home
Look
so
what
bad.
my skin has done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I rarely want to watch serious movies. Like it's a problem even like if we're sitting home, like if it's a night when we don't have any kids or anything, and like me and Kelly just want to watch a movie. Like I feel like it takes me forever to find something I want to watch because
Let me tell you, I haven't watched a drama in theaters in probably over a decade. I know
yeah, me
it's
too. I think yeah.
Like if you really think about it, like the most things people go to are comedies and like Marvel movies, superhero films,
Yeah.
and then horror.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
really
yeah.
it.
Dude, cheesy horror movies are constantly at Redbox. I'm constantly at Redbox. Like, which cheesy horror movie do you want to watch? You know?
I'm mad. I missed Fathom Events did this thing. There's you know who Rooster Teeth is?
No.
By any
No.
chance? Rooster Teeth is a YouTube company. They've been around for a minute. They've been they make a show called Red versus Blue.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Ruby. They made movies. They make movies now, and they made one called Bloodfest, and it's about this horror fest that turns into an actual horror show, and everyone in the festival just starts getting picked off and dying. And I wanted to see that in theaters so badly. It looked like fun. But like I think the big thing with Fathom though is that they need to, instead of just one night,
Yeah.
I think like those type of movies deserve at least a 2-week run.
Yeah.
So at least they could somehow make their money back, because that's kind of the charm of the old movies, is that hey, we're on a low as fuck budget, but we're gonna make it back in the theater run,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that doesn't really happen now.
It's movies that like I don't want a movie taking itself too serious.
Yeah.
You know, like directors sometimes you see them like they take themselves too serious. Like I watched Constantine yesterday, and there's like people I know I can't watch Constantine with like, oh, that doesn't make sense. But it's a supernatural movie. Like you have to be in that mindset. Like you're watching a supernatural movie, so you're gonna see weird shit happen.
Yeah, it still doesn't make sense though. You need like
Yeah.
internal consistency in the story. But,
Yeah. I mean, like, you know, like, oh, he can't blow flames out of his hands. He would hurt his hand if he lit his hand on fire. It's like,
Yeah, but-
we I get it, but you're here to have fun.
Yeah. No.
You know who's a good director that doesn't take themselves too seriously but makes fantastic movies? Edgar Wright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shaun of the Dead,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Baby Driver. What's the other one? Oh, The World's End, which is my favorite, my personal favorite.
I just watched a video about Baby Driver actually, but I haven't seen the movie yet. So
good.
so I
Really?
want to say it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
oh,
good.
it's fantastic. If you come back here, I'll lend you my copy.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, I totally agree with what you're saying though. Like people, like have fun with the premise. Like
Yeah.
that's what I like in recent superhero movies. They're lampooning the fact that this is a superhero movie. Like, come on, especially like when you see the trailer for like Shazam.
Oh, I'm sure it's terrible.
Oh no, it's
is it good?
Oh, it's pretty
Yeah.
good. It's
Huh.
just it's like when they're revealing certain things. The main kid asks the guy, "Who are you?" and he's like Shazam, and then the kid goes. He starts laughing. Like,
Kev, you know
It
how
might be good.
we talk about the DC movies and
Yeah.
about how they're just terrible.
Yeah.
And we get Shazam's a DC movie.
Yeah.
right?
That's
yeah.
why. That's why I said it'd be
Shazam's-
terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It actually looks like they don't take themselves serious. I mean, we have to see the movie to go out, but it doesn't look like everything in the DC universe. They take themselves so serious.
Yeah, but
and
the problem is that they're gonna do it right because like that's part of the issue with Justice League is it seems like they made these serious movies and then they're like, oh, but Marvel's funny sometimes and people like that. So then they had all these stupid jokes in the Justice League movie.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with the DC universe is that what Marvel built in a decade, they tried to build in 3 years.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
That's really the only issue because they rushed into it.
Yeah.
Because if they had taken their time
Mm.
with Justice League and Batman versus Superman, those could have been amazing.
Yeah, because how many?
amazing movies?
Because where in the MCU does the first Avengers movie fall? Was a
Iron Man.
few movies.
We had Iron
We
Man.
had Iron Man and Captain America
Yeah.
movies before that, right?
I'm about to look up the fucking whole MCU timeline. of
yeah, no,
movies.
Iron Man's the first MCU movie.
Yeah, Iron
because
Man.
because they in Iron Man. So in the Incredible Hulk with
Oh, with Eric,
Peter-
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton.
Edward Norton, yeah. So Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
It's a tongue twister. He is the general in Edward Norton.
Yeah.
Hulk, right?
All right, here
but
we
that's
go.
not an MCU movie. But they bring him back.
No, it is. That's officially
It's
an MCU movie.
it's considered
Yeah.
MCU.
It is?
It's just
Yeah.
like it's loose MCU because of the whole Edward Norton situation.
Yeah.
Right.
But it goes Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, the first Captain America, then the Avengers.
Yeah, so you had all these established characters before the
Yeah.
Avengers.
Right.
And then literally all we had before Justice League was Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
That doesn't build a universe, and just because you insert Wonder Woman into the fucking story,
Yeah.
like if you want to keep the world building, go for it, and then build up Justice League. But the problem with that is that everyone's like, "Oh, you're just gonna copy Marvel's formula,"
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is like,
But it's fine if it works. If you,
Yeah.
if you, I mean, the idea should be, if that formula worked, do it, but do it a little better.
So-
Yeah.
Kev, say
Yeah.
you and I start something. We start a business, and like you start 5 years ahead of me, right?
Yeah.
And your business model works, and then I copy that same exact business model. Don't change it at all, and I become successful. And you go, "Hey, you stole my business model." I go, "We're both successful. What do you
Yeah.
care?"
Isn't that like what Microsoft did?
Yeah.
Like with Apple? I don't know. So
Yeah.
I think that DC could really benefit from the fact that they have their multiverse. Like I know Marvel has their multiverse, and it's relatively known, but like DC's known.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you know different variations of Superman, different characters. I think that could have worked more in their favor if they kept making movies like The Dark Knight and just kind of kept things maybe a little bit isolated. But then you think, oh, they were their own things. But then when Justice League comes around, it's like surprise.
Yeah.
It's a whole universe, but you only do it Easter egg wise, like how they did in like The Dark Knight Returns when they laid the egg of fucking Robin and in the continuation of the Batman legacy. So like that's why I'm excited for this Joker movie that's coming out from DC.
They're still doing a Joker movie.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think they started filming already.
Who's the Joker?
Is it the same guy that was in
Joaquin
Suicide
Phoenix?
Squad?
Oh, Joaquin Phoenix.
okay.
Okay, yeah.
And
Whew.
it's executive produced by Martin Scorsese. He apparently helped write the script. So I'm kind of excited for that because that kind of
Yeah.
sounds like that could be a really interesting take on the Joker.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Not the last Joker guy.
So well, the problem with him also was that you could take all of the scenes out of the Suicide Squad
Suicide
movie
Squad.
and nothing changed.
You could literally cut him out. Like the part where Harley Quinn jumps on to the back of the thing.
Yeah.
They get her back anyway. So
Yeah.
you might as well just cut that whole scene.
You know that like he was supposed to be the main antagonist in that movie, right?
Oh no, I didn't know that.
He was supposed to be the villain
Yeah.
in that movie. All the henchmen that they fight when they initially shot it were Joker henchmen that they then covered with CGI creatures and made the primary villains whatever.
Yeah.
Because they wanted to insert the Harley Quinn and Joker romance, which is the dumbest thing I've ever
it was
heard.
terrible.
Because it's not a romance. It's like is it Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah.
Is
Yeah,
it? Or
yeah,
some shit
basically.
like that.
Right.
But like they made it. It's just such a horrible thing because they made it like they love each other, and it's really not that type of relationship.
Yeah, and then there's no character arc for Harley Quinn in the movie.
No.
Like, I mean, if at the end of the movie she realized, oh, the Joker's like manipulative and like left him, like that would have been a character arc.
And then you watch, like, there's a great graph. Like, I've seen it and I've read about the hero's journey, and it's okay. Like Luke in Star Wars has a hero's journey.
yeah,
Like it's
it's
point
like
by
it's the
point.
traditional story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I don't care if you use the hero's journey, but they didn't. Not one of them had a hero's journey. Not one of them. Like you can't.
Well-
you can't go full circle.
I mean, I wouldn't even go that far as something that like archetypal. Like, did anyone have an arc at all? Like, did anyone
No.
change
I think
throughout
the
the movie?
closest is Deadshot.
Yeah.
The closest, but even
Yeah.
his change was like minute.
Yeah,
And
his is. I want to see my daughter again, and at the end of it, he sees his daughter. He's still a murderer. Like he
Yeah.
wasn't redeemed.
I don't know. I just watched a pretty interesting video on YouTube, and I don't remember who it was. It might have been like Just Right or something. Maybe
Was
the
it
channel.
Whole Wheat Costa?
Yeah.
Oh.
But it's sort of, I think, a good example of how like you don't need a traditional character arc for a story. Based it about apparently the two Paddington Bear movies
I
are
love those movies.
they're apparently two of the highest rated movies of all time.
Really?
You never saw them?
I've never seen him.
I think
They're good.
So I think I have a bad so there's a whole sort of group of movies that I have a bad impression of because they're movies.
Oh, the
that-
CGI character movies?
No, totally unrelated to that. So there's a handful of movies that I think I would like that are good movies, but every weekend that we have my son, like or at least one of the nights we all sit and watch a movie, and it's usually right before bed, and some of the time I fall asleep. I think Paddington Bear is one of the movies where I was just really tired and I really wasn't into the movie. But if I watched it like under different circumstances, I probably would have liked it. Especially now I've heard so many people like thought they were such good movies. Lego Batman I have the same impression of, even though in retrospect I remember I was laughing my ass off watching it. But in my head now I fell asleep in the middle, so like, oh, it must not have been that good of a movie.
I still haven't seen Lego Batman because my nephew said it wasn't funny or good.
I thought it was really funny.
Yeah.
Wow. The nephew gave it the bad review.
Yeah, he gave it the bad review, so I go, no, I'm not gonna.
Honestly, watch it. Like
Yeah.
even though it's what your nephew says, it is
Yeah.
probably the funniest and honestly in a really weird way an accurate portrayal of Batman.
Well, I only. Oh no, I did. I
Yeah.
watched. No, I did watch. At the end of it, like they almost destroyed Gotham, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
and
I
they
did watch
connect
it.
it with just one brick and it just makes the one sound.
Yeah.
The little fucking Lego pieces clicking
Oh,
together.
yeah. I only take an 11-year-old's opinion on anything.
But
They're the most honest. Kids are the most
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Like they won't hold back. Like seriously. That's
Yeah.
why like I'm nervous because I'm an active filmmaker.
Okay.
I want to make like family movies
yeah.
because I want to make that next generation of like Goonies films because I
Yeah.
feel like that's what kind of my generation lacked.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm the most nervous about. Like the kids who are gonna go in and be like, "It was okay." The director, like not even knowing what they're talking about. The director didn't do a good job. But
There's like a 6-year-old kid walking around. That director was an asshole.
Did you see the cinematography? Why would they even shoot that scene there? You're like, oh, what?
you know what's funny though? Kids do that,
Yeah.
and like they think they know what they're talking about,
Yeah.
and then there are just some kids who talk about it and do know in a weird way, like they
Yeah.
understand, like oh that camera move was cool, and then like oh the cinematography, yeah that's what it's called.
Yeah. And my niece, she's now 9, gives my brother and I driving directions. And we're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
What? No, tell me. I'm telling you, it's like, Lily, you have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, my daughter's 7 and she does that. It drives me crazy.
Yeah.
Make
Oh,
a
no.
left here.
Yeah. I've been here a million times. I know where my house is. You don't. You just missed the 30-mile trip.
Yeah.
I'll tell you an annoying thing my an undisclosed family member used to do. I'm not gonna rat you out, but he would.
I'm gonna hunt him down, or her, and I'm gonna listen to this.
He would. We would be talking about something in the past, and he would try and guess the date. Like he would be like, "Oh, that was April 1st, 2005," and I'd be like, "You don't fucking know that, you little shit."
You ever hear Ice Cube's "Today Was a Good Day"? Yeah, the song. You know?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, someone deciphered what day the day was because he
yeah.
leaves all the clues.
Yeah. I saw that article.
Yeah,
That's actually kind of cool.
it was like a mix between 1 or 2 days, like in October or something like that. Yeah.
I wonder if Ice Cube confirmed that or not, because like that's something I want to know. Like what day made you write this song?
Yeah.
So aliens, right?
Yeah.
Oh wait. Back to Paddington Bear.
Paddington Bear.
So,
See, Christian, this is a typical Whole Wheat Costa podcast.
yeah, but
I like that.
Yeah.
but yeah. So the premise of like this video essay was essentially that Paddington Bear has a flat character arc, and I never really thought about what that was before, but so that's why I thought it was interesting. The idea that most stories you have a positive or negative character arc. Either the character grows or they regress in some way. But in a movie like Paddington Bear, or like usually in like more of a biopic, like about a great person sort of picture, there's this flat arc where like essentially the character is what they are at the beginning of the story, and they don't really change.
It's the people around them.
The people around them change. Yeah, I just thought it was a really interesting concept I never thought about before.
Honestly, that's what makes Paddington, both of them, so great. Even in the second one, he has a bigger arc a little bit.
Yeah.
But in the first one, it is more flat. But it is really interesting to see like just how. That's why I love like his movies so much, because it's literally just him being himself and the world adjusting to it. Like it's a very whimsical version of our reality. Like it's still reality, but like they have magic books and all that type of shit, and talking bears and.
Yeah. Does he genuinely is like a good character, right?
Yeah.
So his arc, like he doesn't have to change, like
right.
No.
So he just how he touches people, and they change. So that's what it's basically about, like.
And how like learning to have fun a bit more, and like basically like when Paddington gets picked up by this family, they're all a bunch of sticklers, like they all got their own problems. Like the husband is like super controlling, meaning like, oh, he's like an insurance agent, I think, and they make jokes about that in the movie. Like he predicts probability, and he's like, if Paddington lives in my house is like 200% more likely to catch fire or some shit like that. And then the kids are all going through like growing changes and shit like that, and when Paddington comes in, he tells him like it's okay to be that way, but you gotta like learn to have fun with like life a little bit. And through his naiveness, they learn like, okay, we can ease up. And that's a really like non-accurate, like perfect description of that movie. I just really recommend people watch it because it's also very British, but in a good way. It's not like you're gonna sit through it and be like, the fuck are they talking about? It's like, oh, I understand this.
There's a lot of marmalade and shit.
And you ever heard of the mighty? You ever heard of I think they're called the Mighty Boosh?
I've heard of it. I don't know what
They're a sketch comedy group. They're pretty fucking funny. If you go look at their clips online, and it's the same team. So they like, the guy came on from the Mighty Boosh to write and direct the movies. His name is Paul King, and he's actually about to go do a Beatles animated movie. It's not Yellow Submarine remake. It's gonna just be like a crazy whimsical adventure. And I'm like, ooh, I'm behind that. That could be really cool. But yeah, I recommend those movies to anybody, especially the sequel. The sequel is better than the original.
Okay.
Kev, I think we've met someone that likes movies more than I do.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it's real tough. Yeah.
I'm a filmmaker, man. I have to.
Yeah.
I need to like analyze this shit.
Yeah.
I love movies, man. Like that's literally what I did as a kid. That's all I did.
Yeah.
I wasn't a sports kid. I wasn't anything like that. I would always just sit at home and like watch and try to understand movies. Like the first movie I ever saw was Toy Story.
Okay.
So I had a pretty good foundation for movies from there on out. And then my dad and my mom showed me the Muppets, and I loved the Muppets. I grew up on. I didn't watch like Power Rangers as much. My mom and dad tried to show me like the best media.
Okay.
Because they could tell from a young age that I wanted to do stories.
Yeah.
Because we used to have like a VHS camera, and I would make little movies with my Thomas trains, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Okay, this kid might want to do this stuff. Let's show him actually good movies."
That's cool.
So
my dad used to show me VHSs that my grandfather would like record, like it was Charles Bronson, like Death Wish,
yes.
Death Hunt. Like I grew up on violent rated R films, and I'm like, and I've loved them ever since.
exploitation films.
Yeah.
Yo, Grindhouse.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this is my issue in life, and maybe this is why our podcast doesn't have more focus than it does, because I feel like so I'm always jealous of that because there's like nothing in life that I like that much. Like I mean so like I like movies, you know, but I haven't like I like movies currently, but like I went a long time without watching a lot of movies. Now I'm like really into it. I feel like I watch and read stuff about filmmaking all the time for like the last year or so. But prior to that, I really didn't know anything. I like video games, but like, I mean, I haven't played. There's a lot of games that are like classic games that I haven't played. So like, if I try to talk to somebody about games, like, oh, what about them? Like, I never played. I didn't play that.
I don't play
that.
video games.
No,
I play video games so little that when he talks to me about it, I just
Yeah.
listen, and we like try to like
I'm the
we'll try to
exact
analyze.
same way, like to a T.
Yeah.
Like if you probably name a game, I
Yeah.
probably never played it. The only
Yeah.
video game I play, and it's literally only because I can make movies in it,
Yeah.
is Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay.
Because you can make movies in that game. You
Yeah.
can make machinimas. They have an in-game fucking video editor.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, that is cool.
Yeah.
So literally, me and my friend right now are writing a movie that's like Ready Player One was made for $20.
Okay.
And
That's
it's,
cool.
Going into Grand Theft Auto 5. But yeah, it's fascinating.
Yeah, but like I don't know, like I like sports. Like I played sports growing up. Like I like watching. Like I've had periods in my life where I've been obsessive about hockey or football or baseball, and then I sort of fall out of it. I don't know. So it's like weird because like you don't know what to like you don't know what to talk to people about because it's like you know I can start a conversation about most topics but then can't finish it essentially.
It's
I don't know.
it's not bad. Like I just feel like you're not passionate about one thing, but
Yeah.
you are passionate about
A
learning.
lot of things.
Yeah.
Learning. You know what I mean? It's like you don't you have a cursory knowledge of a lot of things.
Yeah.
Where like
So you could start the conversation,
Yeah.
but you want to hear like someone else's input. So
Yeah.
it's not just like my
It's-
one naive, and I use that word loosely,
Yeah.
view on it. So
Yeah.
like, let's say you wanted to talk to your friend about a video game you've never played.
Mm.
You bring it up to them and be like, "Yo, have you ever actually played this level in the game?" And they'll be
Yeah.
like, "Dude, I played that, but have you ever played this?" And then you
Yeah.
start up that conversation, and
Yeah.
it just elevates.
Yeah.
But that's cool, though.
It's not it's not a negative. It's more of a
It's more of a positive thing.
Yeah, it's a positive.
Yeah.
You want to learn. Like it's a lot of people are just like
Bullshit.
you know them, like you know them, and I know them. People that go, I like playing video. Like Paul,
Yeah.
I like playing video games.
Yeah.
I went down the shore like last weekend. He brought 2 gaming consoles
Huh.
for a night,
That's a lot.
and like yeah, and like he like you talk to him about anything other than video games. He's like,
yeah.
you know, it's like that's you know.
Yeah. Like
That's what I feel like the boat I get stuck in though sometimes, and I feel like that's where you think it might be a negative,
Mhm.
where you think that you get caught up in maybe like one conversation.
Yeah.
You feel that way sometimes,
yeah.
and I feel that way too. But sometimes it's just like you gotta learn to branch out from just that a little bit more, and I understand the learning aspect of it too. That's where that kind of comes into play. Like you may know a broad bunch of things, but you don't know them specifically, like individually.
Yeah.
So, like me, I will start a conversation about movies, but then somehow, because just how that goes, it somehow can either turn into like a philosophy discussion
Yeah.
or like other things like movies, music, and then when that branches off, you start to delve into the person, and then you could be like, oh, then you do like this and like that and that. So, I don't see that as a negative ever. Like it is a really cool way to, even though you may not have focus in one thing, your appeal of many things is what makes you unique.
Yeah.
Well, we have we have this guy at work, and when I joked about him or whatever, I'm like, he's a super nice guy, but I really feel like every conversation kind of trails off, And like this is after only talking to him twice. You know, every conversation.
So, all two conversations.
Yeah, no, there's several since. And I was
Alright.
like, I feel like every conversation like trails off into like his skin tags or a medical procedure, right? Like just joking around.
Excuse me?
Yeah. And then like he was talking to somebody else. He's like,
I kind of feel like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like this mole on my shoulder.
Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I was drinking a jug of water. I muted my thing to do it, and then all of a sudden I heard that. I almost choked. I'm like,
So-
what? Like,
yeah. So I'm talking to him, and
how about that weather? How about that skin tag on my back?
yeah, like it's like something. It's funny because like he seems like that kind of guy. And then we were working like 2 Saturdays ago. We he doesn't smoke. I don't smoke. But we went outside with like the 2 smokers on break because it was like actually like a nice morning. So we're going out talking, and then he like just we were talking about like what were our plans on. And he's like yeah, this morning it reminds me of this morning I went out. I was getting I was getting something removed in my back, and then I left it. And he delved into this medical procedure, and I was like, I fucking knew it. Like, so
I knew this is where it was gonna go.
And then like people that talk to him, like he always talks about something that went wrong with him, like medically, and it was like, I knew it. Yeah, it's like not like and like my buddy at work is like.
Let me ask you this: Can you time it? Can you like? Do you
Oh,
can you
it's
like
like-
analyze a conversation? And be like,
It's
okay,
like-
here it goes. 5.
Yeah, it's definitely like 3 or 4 deviations off the original topic. Yeah. So,
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I was when I went to see Captain America last week or a couple weekends ago, whenever it was, something that happened like the sort of thing that sort of I was referring to before happened to me. Like I'm sitting in the food court afterwards, and
your stitches popped.
so I did just have surgery recently. But I'm like sitting in the food court and I have like my Captain America shirt on. I had Captain America socks on too. And my fiance took my son, like was taking her to the bath, she took him to the bathroom and stuff. And then, so I'm just sitting in the food court by myself. And this guy, and this guy's like, there's a nice shirt. And I was like, I just saw the 10th anniversary thing. And then the guy starts talking about like horror movies. So I was in it for like a minute, and then it was like literally 10 minutes of this guy just talking about horror movies. I had nothing else to add to it because I hadn't seen the last 35 movies he referenced.
Right.
But
Like, what were some of the movies he was talking about?
I don't
Do you
even know.
remember?
Yeah, he's just they're all the same. They're it's that's why I love, like I said earlier, like I love cheesy horror movies. Like it is something like cheesy horror movies, like you can watch it, like they don't scare you, and then you can like pick up your phone.
Well, it
you
depends.
check-
There
yeah.
are some cheesy horror movies that actually are kind of, like, even though they're cheesy, they can have a good scare.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but-
like you don't really have to pay attention to them. Like a Daniel Day-Lewis movie, like you're not picking up your phone. You're watching. You're looking for details. Where like a cheesy horror movie, you could just I could watch a million of them. Like you can watch them all day. You could do work. You can read, and you're like, oh, So it's like something that I wouldn't watch something that my mind doesn't have to work.
I have a question for you then. What is your favorite cheesy horror movie?
Oh, it's the Jason series. The
The
Friday
Friday
the
the
13th.
13th?
Yeah.
Yo!
Any time of day, you get me, I'll watch one.
Mine is the Halloween movies
Oh.
and Nightmare on Elm Street.
My
the first
favorite,
one.
my favorite Jason movie, and I have a feeling that Kevin didn't watch this.
yes.
Jason X on the spaceship.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
You didn't watch it, did you?
No.
So it's
It's okay.
oh man, I'm gonna blow your mind
You're
here.
about so you do know
200
Friday the 13th, right?
Right.
You do know those movies.
Yeah.
Okay, so
200
this is basically where Friday the 13th jumped the shark.
Yeah. So it's 200 years in the future. Hockey's outlawed,
Uh-huh.
right? Which is a plot point.
Yeah.
Because if they Jason. No, not yet. I forget exactly how it starts, but Jason's chained up, right?
Yeah.
And he kills a whole bunch of people, and then they liquid nitrogen. The lady comes in, liquid nitrogen. She gets frozen too, stabbed in the thing. 200 years in the future, they unthaw him. They fix her up and everything. Hockey's outlawed. They're like, oh, let's remove his hockey mask. They remove his hockey mask. Then the doctor.
Why was hockey outlawed?
I don't know. It's too
It's
violent.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's
the-
space in the,
the-
it's a freaking
Yeah.
Jason movie in space, man. Like this made it past like executives. Like someone was like, I'm gonna give this money. Like
yeah. So
and you're asking for reasoning with a movie called Jason X in space, okay?
yeah. So anyway,
You're not gonna get it.
So they're thawing him out. The girl's like flipping out, like it's going back and forth through the girl. Like, you brought Jason on the ship? And they're like, yeah, Jason Voorhees, he's dead, right? Because So they take off the hockey mask, right? They take away his machetes. Machetes somewhere else, and then
You have to like cut it off, don't they?
yeah, they have to cut it off with like laser or like
It's
some
like-
future knife.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they take it off, right? And then in the middle of this like biopsy or whatever they're doing to to Jason, the teacher goes, "You want that extra credit?" And the student's like, "Yeah, I do." And they start having sex. They start making out like over like Jason's body, and like Jason, like you see Jason wake up and he like kills the guy, and then like smashes her face in liquid nitrogen, and then smashes her face, and then he grabs like a bone saw that looks like a machete, right? And he kills people. And like the guy in charge of everything, he's like, "You want your machete?" He's like, "If I give you machete, will you stop killing?" And so he runs, gets his machete, grabs his machete. He drops. He's like, "Oh, good, you dropped it." He handed him a machete, kills that guy, and then like he destroys the whole space station. And then the Marines that are on the spaceship kill Jason.
Okay.
But they kill him, and they blow off his leg and his arm and part of his face, and then he goes into this regenerative chamber that just fixed the girl, where all these like little nanobots fix him. Now he's like made out of steel and shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll show you a picture because this motherfucker looks like a
Yeah.
rejected Ninja Turtle villain.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, it's the greatest. It's
Yeah,
the
it looks
greatest.
like Shredder.
Yeah.
$17 million budget.
Huh.
$17 million only made back 11.
Huh. That's a shame.
Well, 10 of that was me.
Hey, you want to make some movies? Shit.
So we won't get a Jason X2.
No, I think they rebooted.
I think
they rebooted.
Oh
after
no,
that.
we had Freddy versus Jason,
Okay.
and then after that they rebooted
Rebooted.
Oh.
everything.
Oh, here's what I was thinking about before. To go back in like 3 steps.
Yeah.
So back to the DC stuff from a
Okay.
while ago. And if you guys know comic books at all, because I don't, you can sort of chime in on this, but I saw a theory that apparently the upcoming Flash movie was being renamed Flashpoint. Which
Flashpoint is a
Yeah.
comic book series where the Flash goes back in time and, he
and like
changes history.
reverts everything. Yeah. So the theory anyway is that by them doing this Flashpoint movie, what essentially is going to happen is they're going to like be like, oh, those first few movies, they totally didn't happen. We're going to start over again with and that's going to be their out to get rid of like Ben Affleck and like
Right.
all the shit that's happened to this point.
Bruce
Honestly,
Wayne's-
that's very smart.
Yeah.
If that's the way they want to go about it.
How about look? Now I've said this a million times. Stop making live action films. Your animated films are awesome. The DC animated films are awesome.
Yeah, they
Thank you.
could just
Someone
do that.
finally
Yeah.
fucking gets it.
And the Marvel,
that's how DC could have been different.
Marvel animated films are trash,
Oh yeah.
but their
they're-
live action is great. So why don't you guys just split the market? Because
Yeah.
I love the animated films. They're cheaper to make. Because you don't have to have these gigantic budgets. They make a ton of money back. They just have to hire voice actors. The Suicide Squad animated film was phenomenal.
Now
It
let
was
me
great.
ask you this. Do you think that can you imagine if the DC universe, their film series, like not only was animated, but animated in a way that was like traditional animation? Do you think that would have been a cool route to go? Like almost like the style of the Iron Giant, if you've ever seen that?
Yeah.
Because I think that could have worked. If Marvel kept it with live action, kept their movies cool, DC could have stayed animated like that.
Yeah.
And think about it. They could have went on forever.
Yeah.
Marvel will eventually have to reboot. Well, not reboot, but like do over some shit
Yeah.
because they
People are getting old.
live people get old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With animation, you're 10 or 20 forever.
Yeah.
So like it could have been a much smarter move to have, I think, an animated DC universe. Do you disagree or agree?
I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's because voice actors, they change all the time,
Yeah.
and stuff. So it's like not even that big of a.
And even a voice actor can be a character for 30 years. Like, it doesn't
Right.
matter. Like, their voice doesn't really change. So
Yeah, look at Shaggy and Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, the Casey Kasem.
Casey Kasem.
And then Matthew Lillard took over.
Right.
Matthew Lillard is Shaggy's permanent voice actor now.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, and they're actually making a new Scooby-Doo movie right now, which is funny you
Oh.
bring that up. Someone I follow is working at the animation studio that's animating
Oh,
it
that's
right
cool.
now. But yeah, like I think DC should have stuck with like animation and just made them theatrical instead of direct-to-video,
Right.
and maybe just spruced up the animation a lot more.
Yeah, because you could do a full, hour and 20 minutes, hour and a half, like full theatrical length runtime, animated movie.
Especially with the budget that they have for those films.
Yeah.
Like I think Wonder Woman's budget was like 150 million.
Yeah.
Like
Say an animated film takes what, 10,
The-
15 million?
no,
No.
the exact. Well, now most would take a lot more because
Right.
they've updated the technology.
Right.
But if they took that exact same budget, like I'll put it into perspective for you. Remember that Trolls movie that came out like maybe 2-3 years ago?
Yeah.
This is a decent movie, but that was the exact same budget.
Okay.
It was 150 million
Oh, really?
dollars. Wonder Woman made back 780 million roughly.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Imagine if that was animated.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy. Because the only thing I can't figure out is if it would be better in CGI type of animation, almost like Incredibles
Mocap.
or Pixar, or 2D, like
Yeah.
like a Iron Giant. I just don't know.
But here's the thing: Incredibles made $1 billion too.
There,
Yeah. I think so, because I guess I don't know, 'cause I feel like too, if you made it animated, you could target. So it's like I said, it's like my son's 3.5. He likes watching the Marvel movies. I feel like a lot of kids, like his age, like under 5 though, like won't sit through live action movies. He just always has. We took him to his first movie, he was like 1.5, and like he sat through and watched the whole thing. He just always has liked it. But I feel like a lot of younger kids wouldn't. But if you had animated movies, you have a whole nother market. Because I feel like, again, probably a lot of parents wouldn't take a kid that young to like a Marvel movie. But if there was an animated DC movie, even if it was a more, it doesn't have to be a kids movie. It can still be an adult themed movie. But I feel like parents would take their young kids.
like
to
if it was
it.
like PG-13.
Yeah.
If it was like Incredibles, but just amped up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like with more stakes.
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's cool because people underestimate the intelligence of children. That's
Yeah.
also why I really like the Paddington movies.
Mhm.
They're not just dumb talking animal flicks like
Yeah.
Yogi Bear and Alvin and the Chipmunks. They're very intelligent, well-written movies that don't talk down to the audience. They
Yeah.
talk with the audience. And that's why I respect Paddington as a character, because he's on the same level mentally almost as a child.
Yeah.
And Paddington's, it's arguable his age. But it's
He
like
means well.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
means well. But that's what children do too. That's why I think that those movies, again, fantastic.
Mm.
But I never will underestimate the intelligence of kids. Like that's why like right now I'm actually trying to. I found out a friend of mine has an in at Mattel's new film division.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay, what Mattel toy could make a fantastic movie?
Yeah.
And I was like, Viewmaster. And I know that people are going to be like, what? Viewmaster can't make a movie. And I'm like, well, what if the Viewmaster could take you wherever you wanted to go through the power of its picture?
Yeah.
We got you. I know you're Viewmaster, but we also have Ready Player One.
Yeah.
I think that's a Viewmaster
But then check
film.
this out.
Yeah.
So, like, what if these kids find this Viewmaster that can take you anywhere
Mm.
within its pictures, but the pictures can change? But then they find it at their grandfather's house, who
Mm.
took it from someone who was using it in a bad way.
Okay.
Meaning, like, oh,
Like-
so these guys were, like, doing, like heists in London and disappearing to New York in the flash of an eye
Mm.
through a fucking Viewmaster toy.
Hmm.
So it's like it's got a vibe of, like, Goonies, like old Amblin movies.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's kind of interesting, but that's up for your debate. But I mean, don't underestimate the intelligence of kids to not understand like different themes and stuff like that.
Could you add your own photos to the Viewmaster?
Yes, you could.
Yeah. So you can, like, I could take my grandfather's photos of World War II and like
You could go there.
I can go be in Yugoslavia and like.
Roughly, yeah. I
Yeah.
literally only started writing this idea like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
So
I-
I
okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's what most people use the Viewmaster for.
I mean, like
a
visit
lot.
your grandfather
It
in the
has the.
40s.
It
lot-
has the.
A lot of porn.
It has the. Oh my god. Wait a minute. That's actually really funny.
We'll trade numbers. I'll give you more Viewmaster ideas. Yeah.
Oh man, you guys are awesome. I like your podcast.
Oh, thanks.
What time we at?
You're an hour and 4 minutes.
Yeah.
4 minutes.
Wrap it up, I guess.
Yeah.
How do you wrap it up?
Let me just say goodbye.
No goodbye song.
Nah, we don't have any songs yet. We haven't figured it. We're very still learning.
Yeah.
You guys gonna come back here?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So for Christian, Kevin, and I, thanks for listening to this week's Whole Wheat Costa.